Today, young people born between 1983 and present are referred to as Gen Z and millennials. This age group currently makes up more than half of the Earth population. My name is Juan David. I am 17 years old, which means I am part of Gen Z. Being part of Gen Z means that I have never known a world without smartphones and the internet, a world without TSA airport security and school shootings. I am growing up in a world that is increasingly interconnected and interdependent. I will never ever experience privacy in the same way that my parents and grandparents did. According to a 2019 Deloitte survey of over 16,000 millennials and Gen Zs from all over the world, we are a disrupted generation. Optimism and trust are scarce. We're skeptical of business motive. We have a love-hate relationship with technology. Well, here I have two letters, and they are both coming from the future. If you're wondering how I was able to go to the future, I borrowed a car from my friends from Back to the Future. This gray letter comes from a very pessimistic future. And this yellow letter comes, of course, from a very optimistic future. It is written by a teenager named Alex. Alex lived in the year 2050. And I'll read you guys the yellow letter at the end. I've always been a super optimistic person. Most of the time, more than my peers. I've been curious and will always ask myself questions such as, why am I optimistic? And how has being optimistic had an impact on my life? How I see the world, my energy, ambitions, goals, aspirations, have all been hugely impacted by optimism. Optimism has been transformative for me. So, why did I choose optimism? Is optimism learned? Is optimism in our genes? For me, optimism was my only choice. I didn't have any others. So my journey started in a tropical and beautiful country in South America called Venezuela. Venezuela was this magical place where I was born and raised for 14 years of my life, until I moved to the US. However, Venezuela started deteriorating in 1998, when a popular regime came to power. His ideologies not only ruined the country economically and politically, but also socially. Delinquency was on the rise every year. And in the area where we lived, there was some new kidnapping where criminals would ask for a huge ransom. My family and I were not exception. I was 3 years old. It was a normal Saturday. My dad and I were driving to work, and he often took me with him on the weekends. Suddenly, our car was ambushed. Several men started shooting, breaking our windows, hitting our tires and doors. Literally everywhere. I didn't know what was happening. I just hugged him as hard as I could until things went quiet, and he lay limp beside me. Unfortunately, a gunshot had impacted him. So you might wonder, how can a person like me be optimistic after seeing how my dad was murdered so unexpectedly right before my eyes? Why would I be optimistic after seeing such a tragic event? Why would I want to live in this world? The answer is because I believe optimism is a choice. So a horrible day happened in 2005. And as you can imagine, growing up without a dad was pretty hard. A lot of people thought I was going to be traumatized and that I wasn't going to be a normal kid. And well, they were right. I'm definitely not normal. I'm here today giving a TED talk at 17. Who does that? Who does that? What kind of person does that? Just a crazy kid who wants to inspire people to change the world. So after my father was murdered, Venezuela started to deteriorate even more. Every year, every month, and every day. We started to receive many threats from the government and the criminals who killed my dad. And since there's practically no law, we knew that the life of my mom, younger sister, and I were numbered if we stayed there. And that is when my mom took the bold choice of moving to the United States 3 years ago. If losing my dad was pretty challenging, moving to the US was quite a challenge. We had to adapt to the culture, we basically didn't know anyone, and on top of everything else, we didn't know the language. None of us knew a single word of English. Starting from zero all over again is something that no one wants to do. I can speak for hours and hours of all the challenges, crazy and funny stories that we face. But a determining factor was how I saw and perceived everything that was happening around me. So in my Optimism toolbox, there are two types of glasses. So imagine that you have a pair of cheap drugstore sunglasses in your hands right now, and now put them on. Now everything seems not as bright and clear, right? And if you wear them long enough, you might even get a headache. Now, get rid of those ugly sunglasses. And imagine that you have a pair of high-quality polarized sunglasses. The kind that makes everything vibrant and beautiful. Now put them on and try to notice the difference. Now, everything, and you'll start to see everything in beautiful and vibrant colors. We see with the lenses. We see through the lenses, but we don't see the lenses themselves. What most people don't realize is that we have agency over them. We can build, create, and change for the ones we desire. How we see the world, or lens of reality, determine the kind of experience we're going to have. Solution? Just get a new pair of sunglasses. Just kidding. By watching this talk, I'll give them to you for free. So I moved here in 2016. I started as a freshman in high school. And high school can be, in fact, quite stressful for some people. But for me, it was exciting. I saw everything as a challenge, as an opportunity. And don't forget the fact that I didn't know English. So before the first day of high school, I was thinking, gosh, how can I learn English quickly? So I thought to myself, would it be possible to learn English in one day? So let me ask you guys, yes, no, maybe? Really? I didn't care and told myself, I'm going to learn English in one day. Of course, that was not possible. And the only thing I had was a bunch of headaches at the end of the day. But I tried again, told myself a week. No way, not even close. I tried again and told myself a month. And by the end of the month, I was able to learn a few words and phrases, but nothing close to fluency. Guess what I did next? I gave up. Just kidding. So I kept on trying and told myself 6 months. And by the end of the 6th month, I was able to understand and communicate with my teachers and classmates. After learning English, my journey in the US had begun. The following year, I started to take college level and honors classes. But this wasn't due to optimism alone. It also took a lot of hard work, perseverance, and being comfortable with taking risks. But none of the things would have even been possible if I wasn't wearing my optimistic glasses. Optimism is a first step. Imagine where I would be if I had not embraced optimism. As you have heard, I have plenty of reasons to be pessimistic. In fact, I can be like most people my age and take the easy road. According to the survey that I mentioned earlier, my generation, Gen Z, and millennials are the most pessimistic generation in the history of humankind. That is something that horrifies me and concerns me. And getting a gray letter from the future is a real possibility for my generation. But in order to prevent getting this gray letter from the future, younger generations need to embrace optimism. And parents and grandparents can help us with this too. We all know the benefits of having an optimistic life. Successful, healthy, longer, enjoyable life. According to Harvard Health Publishing, research tells us that having an optimistic outlook early in life can predict better health and lower rate of death during follow-up periods of 15 to 40 years. But I don't think we as a society realize or even know the horrendous consequences of having a pessimistic life. A 35-year longitudinal study has linked having a pessimistic explanatory style with higher rates of infectious diseases, poor health, and early mortality. As any other skills, such as public speaking or coding, optimism can be learned. Martin Seligman discovered that optimism is something that you learn, and perhaps that also means that pessimism can be unlearned. If we, as a society, don't teach people, especially younger generations, to be optimistic, we're not going to be able to solve the challenges and problems in the future. And believe me, the challenges coming ahead are going to literally dictate the course of humanity. Elon Musk said once, "I'd rather be optimistic and wrong than pessimistic and right." So here are 3 examples of how I believe optimism is going to play a major role in humanity's future. Artificial intelligence. Pessimistic. AI is going to take over the world and kill us all. There's nothing I can do about it. Optimistic. AI is like any other technology that has changed the world in the past. What can I, with you, in order to use this technology responsibly? Or how can humans catch up to AI? Biotechnology. Pessimistic. The wealthy and privileged will benefit, and inequality will rise in the world once again. Optimistic. The positive effects of having this technology is going to cause us to live longer and disease-free life. What can we do to have this technology available to everyone equally? Climate change. Pessimistic. We're never going to save Earth. Forget about future generations. Let them worry. Optimistic. This issue is going to require bringing a lot of people together. But if we don't start now, no one will do anything for our future. You see how everything changes? Do yourself a favor and throw those old lenses you have and throw them away and grab the ones I'm giving you. As Greta Thunberg once said, all we have to do is wake up and change. I want to educate the decision makers in business and government on my generation. I want to empower my generation to think more optimistically, creatively, generously, and yes, positively. This is a matter of having a future where I would like my kids and grandkids to live in. A future where we take on the big problems, no matter if there's a big chance of failure. Remember this yellow letter from Alex, that teenager living in 2050, who addresses to me, the Juan David, living in 2019? Let me read it to you. Dear Juan David of 2019, here in 2050, we're so grateful that Gen Z changed from being known as the most pessimistic generation to the most optimistic generation. If Gen Z had continued down the path of pessimism, we would not have achieved so much positive progress in areas such as AI, biotech, and climate change. Most people are now worried about something called the singularity. Luckily, my generation views the singularity with optimism too. Here in 2050, I'm happy to tell you that we are still wearing our optimistic glasses. Sincerely, Alex. Thank you.